Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new video, and this time I want to talk about basic business concepts and try to explain why sometimes we see some strange decisions, or why we have some misconceptions when we compare what is the some of the business concepts. And I will go to very basic things, but I want to explain why sometimes we see some things from the Games Workshop. I see some opinions, and I think that they are wrong because they are taking into account the microeconomy, or the taking as a reference our domestic economy, what we do at home. But to be fair, we cannot extrapolate this to when we talk about big companies like Games Workshop, or even medium companies like can be Mantic, or well, Private Press is much bigger. So we have to be careful about when we talk about or we compare about what we do in our microeconomy to what the companies can do on the macro. No, so I want just to cover some basic concepts, and just a disclaimer: I'm not a specialist in finance. I'm not a finance person, and I will go very basic. So I just want to share with you after being exposed to some business concepts in my daily job. Being part of a company, you get exposed to some of these concepts, and you start understanding them a little bit better, and you see how different are from what is our logic or what is our conception of the economy. So I just want to share this with you, and I hope it's helping you to understand some of the decisions that sometimes Get Washington is taking, and as well some of the decisions that other companies may take. And the first concept I want to talk about is the gross margin. The gross margin is normally used in percentages, as you can see in that formula, and is mainly what is the net benefit that you take from selling your items, your different your different products, I would say, no. And normally defined by the revenue minus the cost of goods divided by the revenue, and this is giving you the percentage. Okay, so it's important. This is a very important driver for the companies, and normally there are some targets. And why we have some very specific targets? Because of course, if we see the gross margin in a scale, and this is just a random scale, there is a green part that is the top when you have a big gross margin, when you have benefit. If your gross margin start going down, you will arrive at a point that where you are flat, or almost flat, so where your benefit is very little, or you have a little bit of losses, but in mid terms or in average terms you are flat. And then if you are below this percentage, you start having losses. And I will say this percentage is not, it doesn't mean that you have a negative gross margin. So normally when the companies have a target, if you are below this target, you start getting losses, and we can see that, for example, a target can be to be over 40% of margin, or be over 30%, depending a lot on the business and on the business model. But what I mean here is that normally this margin, that when you start having losses, is also positive percentage. If you are in negative percentage, means that you are selling below the cost of goods. So if you have a negative gross margin, means that you are selling the product below your cost of goods. But even if you're selling the product higher than the cost of goods of your material, maybe it's not enough, because you have to also cover other assets and other expenses that you have in your company, or you have that is in the company, and you need to do a certain amount of gross margin to be able to have benefit. So this is a very important point, and this is this drives to the next concept that I want to share with you. That we have the conception that if you're selling something at 40% gross margin, if you reduce your gross margin, if you sell the double, for example, in that case, no, if I have something that I have a gross margin of 40% and I'm selling 10 items, we have the conception that if I will sell 20 at 20%, my benefit is going to be the same, and this is not true. So this, even though mathematically looks at the same, is not true. So normally it's better to sell some less items at bigger gross margin, because it means that the assets that you have to do, or this infrastructure that you have to do to sell these items, each is most of the times can be lower. So, and maybe selling at 20% gross margin is making you no benefit at all, because this is not covering all the expenses, because you need more infrastructure to sell more products, and you need more warehousing, more transport, and all of these things. Now, normally this is including the cost of goods, but there will be some other satellite things that will not be covered well. So in microeconomy, selling a product at some gross margin or selling the double of products at the half of the gross margin is not the same. And this is very important, because sometimes we say, okay, if Games Workshop can reduce the cost of this miniature, they will sell more and they can make more money. But this is not really true, and it's not always true, because if you are below your gross margin, that is like a threshold, then you can start even losing money for the sales that you do. So this is a very important concept, and most of the times it's not intuitive, and it's not well understood by the people, and you have to go more in details in macroeconomy. So this one, really, the gross margin is a concept that when you extrapolate from your daily economy, from your home economy, when you extrapolate these two companies, is not working. Okay. Of course, the other important point is the volume of sales, the quantity sold of a product or a range of products. And here it's very important, because there is a minimum threshold where, even though if you have a huge gross margin, it will not make sense for you to do business. So, of course, you have a minimum volume to make a product beneficial for your business. I mean, if you want to do business, you need a minimum volume to sell of that product. And this can vary a lot from company to company. For big companies, these volume numbers are much higher. For smaller companies, they look more in the flexible tactical movements, this threshold of sales is much lower, to the point if we go to our day-to-day situation at home, if we're selling something, normally our volume is 1 unit, because it's what we sell in eBay, for example. But when you go to more companies, there is a minimum that you have to sell to make benefit. And if you're selling this minimum, this product makes no sense for you to have it on the shelf. This product makes no sense for you to sell it, because at the end, all the costs that you have put in to have this product on the shelf is not going to be recovered, because the volume of sales is too low. So, and this is very related to of what we see on some of the range of miniatures that are disappearing. Of course, if you have some miniatures on the shelf and they don't sell this minimum volume, according to business behavior, the best that you can do is to stop selling this product, because you are losing money by having this product on the shelf. You're just losing money because it's using this space that can be used for another product that can have higher rotation, that can use more efficiently the assets. We have to take into account that for companies, a shelf space is an asset. So, and then if this asset is not efficient enough, you have to make it efficient. And the shelf space, the way to make it more efficient is that the rotation of products on that space is higher. So if the rotation is not high enough, you are not doing benefit. So, and this really directly related to the volume of sales in that region for that product. So this is why we see that they discontinue some products, and this is why for Games Workshop was not affordable to maintain Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar at the same time on the shelf, because they both will compete to have shelf space, and they will not have they will not go on the same strategy, so that you will not make efficient use of your shelf. On the other side, instead of doing that, you stop one of the products and then you substitute this for something that is new and that have higher rotation, then you are doing a much better use of your assets. So I know that this can upset a lot of players, and this can upset a lot of the collectionists, because suddenly some of your favorite miniatures are disappearing from the shelf or from the sales. But this is because this miniatures or this product is not selling enough volume, it's not doing enough volume of sales. I'm pretty sure any product that have are over the threshold that for Games Workshop makes sense, they will not stop it. Normally they will not stop if they are selling enough of that product because they are giving benefit. But when you go below this threshold, then you are in the risk, or you lose the sales of this product, or you stop selling this product. So these are two concepts that we have to take into account at the end. So if we look, the balance of the price is always a balance between the gross margin, and this will drive the volume. So if you go for very low gross margin, you can increase a lot of volume, but if the gross margin is too low, doesn't matter how much you sell, because you're not going to do benefit. On the other side, if you go to too high gross margin, the price is going to be too high, the volume is going to be too low, so you are not going to do benefit neither. So the good price is always this compromise between the gross margin and the volume of sales, and this gross margin can be modified by in two ways: or you increase the cost of the product on the market, or you decrease the cost to manufacture or the cost to have this product on the shelf, and this includes manufacturing, transport, or support at the sales point. So this is why Games Workshop is always trying to look to reduce cost and try to keep the price as high as they can, because it's the way they have the gross margin that is at the target. On the other side, the volume also, they have to compensate this with the volume, and be careful that if you go too high on gross margin, the volume is not to start dropping because you put a price that is too high. And this gross margin and price and volume is all being modified and can move from one position to another depending on what the competition is doing and depending on how you're doing against the competition. And then there are concepts that we can talk in another way, in another time. That is how you position your brand and how you position your product, is making this strategy of the balance between the gross margin, volume, price, is making all this balance can change depending how you position your brand, how the competitors are positioned, and how is your product in terms of quality and distinction versus the competition. So it's quite a complex thing to fix, and it's very delicate because sometimes it's just a couple of a matter of going a little bit too high or a little bit too low that you get out of the track, and then you start having losses. So it's not easy to have this right balance. So summarizing, you see that the gross margin it can explain why the prices are the prices. Normally, what you do is companies do is they have products with very low gross margin that they just use as a promotion. For example, I will understand the Games Workshop on all these starter kits that they have launched recently for Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar. The gross margin there I expect to be very, very low, because this is just a marketing. This is a product to engage people to the range of products, to engage people to this hobby. On the other side, we have miniatures that are very exclusive, that we go for a very high gross margin, and these are where they are going to do benefits. We can see similar things in restaurants, for example. In restaurants, we can see that sometimes the food have a very little gross margin, because the food is a way to attract people to your business, to appeal people to your restaurant. On the other side, then the drinks, on the coffee, on other things that are much cheaper, you can put higher gross margin, and is where you start doing the benefit there. So always there is this gross margin is not the same for all the products, and you play with that to make some promotional products that are attractive for the people to start or to go into your business, and then you do other exclusive products that when the people is engaged in your business they are buying. So and this is all what I want to discuss about cost. So I hope you find this interesting, and I just wanted to share a little bit of these concepts, because sometimes I have seen people always saying that if Games Workshop is reducing the cost, they will sell more and they will do benefits anyway. and this can be true or this can be not true, because we don't know what is really the minimum gross margin for Games Workshop to be able to do business. Yeah, and that's all what I wanted to explain in that video. I just wanted to give very brief explanation about two concepts that a lot of times are misunderstood and can explain a lot of the decisions that Games Workshop is taking and other companies are taking as well, because we see a lot of times products retired from that are not anymore on the shelf. We see increases of costs. We see a lot of things that people normally don't understand. So if you look at these concepts from a different perspective, taking what I explained here into account, you will see that most of these things will make more sense, and yeah, and you will have you can have better understanding of why this is happening. Of course, as I say, I'm not a specialist, I'm not a finance person, I'm just a person that I'm exposed to that. I've been working close to some finance people, and they explain what are the problems we have, and they can explain this much better than me. But I just want to give a brief explanation, and I hope this makes you this helps you to understand some of the decisions that sometimes the companies are taking. For now, that's all. Please comment below. Let me know what do you think. Please share your opinion. Like if you have liked this video. Yeah, and as usual, thanks a lot for watching. Yeah, and if you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon account, so you can be patron of my channel if you want. I don't ask anybody, it's completely volunteer. I will keep my channel as it is up to today. I will not do changes, but I will really appreciate if you want to support me and you have the will to support this channel. I just want to let you know that I have a Patreon account open in case you want to help me on this channel. All the benefits I take from the channel are going to be dedicated to the channel as well, in terms of painting tutorials, having better equipment to do these painting tutorials, and even having better software to do all these videos. So there is a lot of opportunities that I can do if I have better more support. If not, I will keep doing the videos as you can see today, and I will keep just deploying these videos as usual. Yeah, I just want to say thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.